Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to bear witness to the global phenomenon that is North America at Worlds in Week 2. We mourn the death of our once faithful Pobelter and the beloved Smithy.
Rip Immortals.
Yeah.
But fuck TSM.
Yeah, they got... What was it? TSM lost to Misfits in a tiebreaker. I mean, come on. Come on, TSM. Stop sucking.
It's actually pretty bad because Immortals had 4 chances to move on, and
4. That's right.
Didn't.
So they lost, what was it? They lost 2 tiebreakers? 2 tiebreakers.
So they lost to Fnatic, and then Fnatic beat Gigabyte Marines.
And they only had to beat, if they had beaten Fnatic, they would have gone in. And then then at that point, if Fnatic had lost to Gigabyte Marines, Immortals was in.
Tiebreaker.
Or it would have only been 1 tiebreaker. That's right, 1 tiebreaker. But then because Fnatic won, it put it into a 3-way tie for the second seed.
Second place.
Which was... but who was it that had the higher end? It was... Gigabyte Marines had the highest one. So that was 2 games there, and then Fnatic beat Immortals. So Fnatic... Or no. Yeah. Fnatic beat Immortals, and then Gigabyte Marines beat Immortals back-to-back in tiebreakers.
Yeah, if Immortals wasn't going to win that group, or I guess get second, when I say win, because Korean team.
Yeah.
Could have at least been the Marines, but no.
Yeah.
Just had to have an EU team go up.
It really was. I mean, there's one thing that we can say is that the unofficial world champion belt is going to go to the world champion this year no matter what. So if you guys have never heard of the unofficial world champion belt, I believe it was Cloud9 held it coming into Worlds. And so it's basically like kind of like a world instead of like the world the first person who won Worlds basically had the belt, and it's passed on. It's like a world like WWE or whatever it's called.
Just whenever you lose, it goes to the
whenever
next
you
person.
lose, it goes on to the next person who beat you. And so it ended up with SKT beating Cloud9. Cloud9 or whatever it was. SKT is now out of the group stages with the belt, so that means that even if SKT loses, whoever beats them moves on.
It's actually SKT. So
what's that?
Yeah, it's actually SKT.
Had the belt to come into Worlds?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
because no, it was Edward Gaming that had it.
That's right.
And then EDG lost to AHQ.
Mm-hmm.
AHQ lost to C9.
Yep.
C9 beat EDG, then lost to EDG. Lost to AHQ.
Yeah.
And then, beat AHQ, and who lost to SKT.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's kind of cool. So it's like, the world champion's going to have both the official and the unofficial world champion title. Neat little thing there.
So, yeah, welcome to the CLG Faithful Podcast.
Yeah, and let's just say one more time that Cloud9 got carried.
We talked so much about CLG.
Cloud9 got carried by SKTE yet again. Cloud9 getting
second year in a row.
Second year in a row that Cloud9 has only gotten out of groups because SKT boosted them.
and the other teams were so god awful.
They were so bad. I mean, Jesus Christ. That screwed my world. My world's pick'ems are done. Like,
they're
done.
Dead.
No, like the only one I think that made any sense was SKT and Longzhu. I was like, yeah, we're gonna have SKT and Edward Gaming will get through. TSM's probably gonna get into second place. Immortal's probably gonna get second place, and then out of all of that, Cloud9 friggin' gets second place. Like, god damn it, Cloud9, you screwed everything up, man. What the hell?
Yeah.
All right, should we talk about the one last thing in League of Legends? Rip some teams.
Oh, you mean how TSM had the easiest group they've ever had, and they blew it again?
Well, I mean, TSM always gets the easiest group, don't they? And they somehow fail to get out of group stages every time.
Last year, the group was actually pretty difficult, right?
Was it? Did they? I thought CLG got death group last time. I thought CLG last year we had like SKT and someone else in our group, didn't we? It's been a long time since I've looked at it. Literally like a year.
They didn't have a Chinese team that year, so they didn't get a free win.
Oh, right. Yeah, you don't, because there's always that one Chinese team that just kind of just blows chunks.
Yep.
Oh, well, whatever. No, I was talking more about the teams that aren't going to be making it into LCS anymore. Yeah.
So, for those that have not heard, Dignitas was actually confirmed to have been rejected from the LCS.
Which is kind of big, an original 4.
Well, I guess we don't have an official Riot statement of it, but there's an ESPN article that's posted saying Dignitas was rejected.
Yeah.
And now, today, the newest set of reports, again, not from Riot, but the newest set of reports that various news sites have been picking up is that Phoenix 1 and Envy have been rejected. We don't know anything about FlyQuest, who's the other big one people presume will not make it.
Yeah, they're one of the teams that was kind of up in the air. Like, they have money behind them, but they don't really have...
every team has money at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
But just in terms of content and just who are you?
Yeah.
You know?
I think the biggest thing is that it's just like they don't have the brand awareness as some of the other teams, which I would agree with Phoenix 1, Envy, Dignitas. While they might have the money, there's no brand awareness or marketing that's really gone on for them. You know, I don't walk into like an LCS event here and, like, you know, CLG didn't make it to the summer or the spring playoffs here in Vancouver, but I still saw like 20-30 people walking around in CLG jerseys, even though they weren't even there. But, you know, you go there and teams that are there, which Phoenix 1 was one of them, there's almost no Phoenix 1 jerseys at all.
Oh, and even Dignitas, despite being owned by the 76ers, I mean, the 76ers are you can buy Dignitas jerseys in their stadium.
Yeah. Oh, really?
But,
wow.
Yeah, but even so, like, how much did you actually see or hear about Dignitas content on the subreddit?
Like nothing.
There was that one. There was the one super fan.
Yeah, the one super fan.
Who's now a CLG fan.
He's now a CLG fan. Is he? Good. Welcome. You can be a super CLG fan.
And then Phoenix 1 had that one Phoenix 1 fan.
Yeah.
Who now claims he's probably going to be a TSM fan.
TSM fanboy. Oh, fuck him. All right, should we actually like move on to some CLG content? You know, we've been spending the last like 7.5 minutes talking about fuck TSM.
I mean, this is a CLG
podcast.
It's saying fuck TSM is pretty much the heart of CLG.
Pretty much the heart of CLG right now. Just
Side note,
shaking salt onto the wounds.
All the people on the subreddit, like, you know, we should be nice to TSM. But let's be kinder to them. No, fuck that.
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, they had what was it, on the subreddit, the initial, like, haha, TSM got dropped out I think it was removed and then reinstated.
It was just, the post was just, ha 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 ha.
Okay, so I didn't actually see it before it got removed, so that's a pretty big shit post. Like, that's a really bad shit post. So I could see.
No, that sums up exactly how I felt.
That was how I felt when I saw that. When I saw the news of Immortals, I kind of shed a tear. I was like, oh.
So,
but when I saw TSM, I was just laughing in the back of my head.
I guess this opens up an opportunity to talk about roster swaps that some people on the subreddit are a big fan of getting, whether it be what they perceive to be an upgrade in the jungle position or a potentially a replacement for Aphromu, who has not been in the best of forms as he previously was, say MSI era.
I mean, that's...
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I'd have to look up Phoenix 1 and Envy's rosters really quick.
So all you need to know about Phoenix 1 is that they have Mike Young.
Right, Mike Young and Jungle.
And with Envy, they actually have some decent players. They have Lyra, who we know is
a god in Italy.
Hakuho is actually, I think, quietly... at least the top 4 support in NA.
I could see that. I mean, I think at this point...
Apollo, who actually stepped up.
I think at this point, in terms of bringing in players, I think those players should be subs initially, but given actual play time. So especially maybe like not at the beginning of the season where they need the hype.
Will they get play time? This is best of ones now.
It is best of... Oh, shoot, that's right. It is best of ones now. No one's going to get play time aside from
we already have our academy team.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. Bringing in any new players is kind of like it's a gamble essentially. Like, there's no one player that if you took them out of CLG, I think, and replaced them with a better player, that I think would instantly do well. I think that the
let me tell you about the solo queue god of top lane name. His name is Seraph.
Yeah. Well, okay, we've had Seraph before.
Yeah, and he was carrying CLG in the Envy games too, right?
I mean, at the time, I don't think so. I think Seraph was not in when he was part of CLG. The meta was not in his favor, but I think the meta now is a little more in his favor. But at the same time, I don't think he would be a good choice to bring in to begin with.
Nah, but. In all honesty, I know some people are saying we should go after Mike Young or Lyra. I've heard a few people say we should import Yankos, use that second import slot, or go after some Korean jungler. Personally, I'm a big fan of taking Omar God, who, keep in mind, a year ago he was not playing competitively. He went from Challenger Series to LCS
in like what? Overnight, basically. He played like one
in less than a year.
He played one, maybe 2 games as a sub for CLG, and then basically Dardoch was gone and he was our full time. It was like an overnight happening where it's like all of a sudden he's the starter jungle, and it's like he's barely had any LCS experience. So it's one of those things where I would like to see another split, especially now where, I mean, there's no way CLG is not going to be in the LCS next split.
I don't see it. I see
there's a
TSM, CLG,
99.9% chance that it's going to be TSM, Cloud9, and CLG are guaranteed spots.
And Liquid.
And Liquid. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Liquid has
marketability.
In terms of recency, they've done kind of fuck all in.
But they have marketability.
But at least, look, they've spent money. They've marketed their player. They've spent money on avoiding relegation. They've done everything they possibly can to be competitive in the LCS.
And it's another thing to think of with Liquid is that it's not just League of Legends that they can be marketed is. And even though like League of Legends is a big chunk of, that's what all Riot cares about, if they think it to themselves that having their fingers in a team that's in other esports as well, that's good for everyone.
Like CSGO.
It's like, okay, so you become a big Team Liquid fan, because of Dota. Didn't Liquid win the international So they just won the international,
week,
right?
In that same week, their their league team no longer had relegations to worry about, and their Dota team won them enough money for applying for LCS.
Well, no. The money that they win at the international stuff actually goes just directly to the players.
I know, but the joke is that they've got the money now.
They've got the money
now. Their Dota team is saving them money.
Saving Liquid, but
the joke is that it's the most profitable day for Team Liquid in their history.
It's one of those things, right, where they have the marketability. So I think Liquid is in. So the issue is that you can now take a few more risks with it. It's hard on the fans, but at the same time, like. If you look at things like, NHL hockey or the NBA, a lot of teams will take a risky year or two to try out some new players, and it's like, okay, we're not gonna win Worlds or win the Stanley Cup this year, but in the end, you rebuild, and you don't have to. It's great because you don't have to worry about being relegated at the same time. So the stress on the players is not like, oh, am I going to have a job next year because they brought me in and I'm a brand new sub, it's like, like for Omar God, it's like, he came in at a safe point. CLG they would have had to lose every single game and lose all of the relegation stuff to have gotten relegated when Omar God took over. And I don't even I think we were actually locked in for going to playoffs at that point. So it's one of those things where he didn't have to worry about having a job next split, right? But for someone
maybe, right?
Yeah, he might have had a job on another team, but like he wouldn't have that omen over his head as like, oh, he got brought into playing the LCS all of a sudden, and then his team tanks and they got relegated. So
I guess just as a final point, go ahead and finish your thought.
yeah, so they just, the players don't have to worry about being relegated, so they can take the time and be like, okay, let's really sit back, let's learn, let me play with these guys, synergize with these guys, learn to play my role in the top tier position that I'm expected, and not do it while working 14 hours a day because, like training for 14 hours a day playing video games because, you need to be the best at all points. You have that chance where it's like, okay, say like Aframu's had a tight last few weeks. He's like, okay, I'm gonna cut back just a little bit on my training and maybe take a break and just like be able to like take my mind off of League of Legends for a day and not completely and not possibly tank his entire team and piss off like 4 guys.
So I guess my final thoughts on this, and we'll move on to
we'll move
CSGO.
on to actual content.
So yeah, that's the end of our happy segment.
That's the end of the happy pretty much.
So my final point is that OhMyGod was the first pick at the Scouting Grounds event.
He was.
The fact that he was the first pick
says
out of all of the teams says a lot about what the management staff sees in him as a player, and in terms of what CLG looks for from a team perspective, from a philosophy, it is about teamwork and it is about fostering that environment in which you can grow and develop.
Yep.
And Darshan has one of the most positive attitudes and greatest work ethics you can see. Huhi is a goddamn mental warrior.
Yeah, God, he is untiltable. Like
we've seen Stick say, we know what he can do as a player. In terms of work ethic, there was some question marks by some people for a while. I'm not too concerned about that. I'll let management take care of that.
Yeah.
And we know Aframu is quite dedicated.
Yeah.
So, and in terms of growing players, we took a chance on Dardoch. It didn't work out. We weren't able to, reform him or whatever have you. OhMyGod is a player who's young. He's rough, but he can grow into be whatever we need.
Yeah. Yeah. So
right.
I mean, I think we're in a good spot. Yeah. So why don't we move on to some actual like CLG Faithful Podcast content? That's not.
Well,
that's not.
I don't know how faithful I'm going to be.
Yeah.
CLG played on Inferno.
CLG played on Inferno twice. Was it? No. That was that on the academy team. They didn't. Okay.
All right. So okay. They played in the ECS Season 4 match. Do you want to just go over it? Map 1 was on Mirage against
So we were
SK
playing
Gaming.
against SK Gaming. And I mean, we're up against SK Gaming. There's not a lot to be said about that. SK is probably one of the top teams in North America right now, for sure. And with the slump that CLG CSGO team is in, it doesn't really stand much of a chance. I mean, it was a Mirage, so, at least we're not going to get, like, completely routed, but who knows? So they really didn't seem like the case though in the first half, where CLG took a pistol round win, like right off the bat. They're like, all right, great, we got a pistol round. Let's not lose. But they actually didn't get anything off of that. SK took the next few rounds before CLG even had a chance to get another one. And then after 3 straight though, SK got the round win they needed in the 8th, and from there on they dominated. By half, it was 10-5 for SK, and CLG looked a little stronger in the second half, mainly because they were on the T side, which is a little bit stronger for Mirage, for CLG at least. However, SK only needed 6 round wins to close it out, and they did so, splitting the half 6-6 and taking the loss for CLG 11-16.
Yep. And then we move on to map 2, which is on Inferno. And that's really all I need to say. I mean,
it really is when it comes to CLG CSGO.
You would think that if this is the map that we constantly play on, and it's extremely obvious that teams are picking this map against us.
It is. So one of the issues...
You would think that, like, just, you know what? We're just going to practice this map. Only this map.
One of the issues for ECS especially, and I think it's the same for ESL, is that the first 2 map picks are... they're blind picks, so there's no bans before the first map is picked, and then there's bans, I think, or it's something weird. I know in the ECS there's no bans, so people people just pick maps, whatever map they want, and that's why Inferno keeps getting picked against CLG, is because people know, like exactly like saying, people know that CLG sucks completely on Inferno. Like, I don't think we've actually won an Inferno map since it was reintroduced as a competitive map. Like, I don't think we have won a single one.
I guess. I mean, I'm not even going to go over the results.
No.
Do you want me to?
I mean, we lost 11-16. That's literally.
Yeah, okay. Well,
we split half on the CT side. We went 8-7, and then the second half. I mean, it was just we lost 9-3 in the second half. There was just it was awful.
So you mentioned reintroducing map. You've heard about Dust?
Yeah. So
being reworked?
Dust 2 has been reworked. I haven't had a chance to try it out yet. I mean, it's not really, there's not, from what I could see from the pictures and whatnot, nothing has actually changed. It's basically just gotten an overhaul. Dust is one of those maps where it's not perfect, but it's the map that everyone plays because it's so close to being equal. Like, it's very low. Like, it comes down to what guns you're more comfortable with on Dust to really give the advantage. So if your team is better at, say, playing CT because of the M41AS or the M4A4, then you're going to win on the CT side more than the T side. But if you've got a bunch of guys who are amazing riflers with an AK and are going to hit that headshot every time, then you're going to dominate the living hell out of the T side. So that's...
So how do you think it'll affect our boys then?
I think... I mean... One of the things you're going to notice, especially in competitive, is that Dust doesn't actually get played that often. Most people ban it because they know that it's such an even match that they just don't pick it. They don't ban it, but they don't pick it because it's too much of a coin toss for either side. Whereas they're going to pick a map they're a lot more comfortable on playing, say like they're going to play Mirage or Cache, where they know it's like T-sided for it's T-sided for Mirage, and Cache is kind of a little more CT-sided, I guess. No, Cache is more T-sided. But
in our case, we'd probably look for something like Train.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it, right? Like, our guys seem to be really good at Train. Like, they can take even teams like a non tilted Immortals team to, overtime, double overtime on Train. Which,
in LAN.
In a LAN too, right? Which is
just
like a debuff for CLG.
Don't tell them it's online.
Yeah. Like LAN CLG seems to get like a small buff, but they also seem to like try a lot of stupid things. So who knows?
All right, let's talk some CLG Academy.
Yeah, so CLG Academy CSGO finally got to play, hey?
Yep, so they actually played in the close qualifier for the America's Minor Championship.
Yeah. And
our main team, CLG.Blue, is actually already qualified for this tournament. So in order for the Academy team to qualify, they have to outright win the entire event.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's a huge event or anything like that, but it's one of those things where the closed qualifier, you have to win it.
Right, and it's always nice to see more of our Academy team play as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're obviously the Academy team. They're not... I mean, it's hard to say they're not on the full the blue roster's level, but there's definitely...
Are they that far off?
They're definitely...
I feel so bad making fun of our CSGO team, but
they're great guys. Like, Kusta is... When he's got the right team behind him, Kusta, and he's got an op in his hand, like Enrique, like, they're fantastic players, but you're putting all these guys together right now, and I don't know what's going on with them, but they're just... Yeah. But, I mean, they're a step above the Academy team. But the Academy team is going up against teams like Luminosity Gaming and a rebuilt Immortals. So, I mean, let me put it this way. The Academy team going into this match was ranked 341st going into the first match against LG. LG was ranked 20th.
LG really won out during the NA roster shuffle.
So, I mean, it's one of those things, right, where... It's like you're pitting a team that's ranked 340th against a team that's ranked 20th. There's 320 better teams in terms of ranking system that over our Academy boys and we're playing one of the top 20 teams in in the world, essentially, right?
Yeah. So to go over exactly how they did, the first half was 11-4 in favor of LG, and the second half was a little bit of a decent showing, but LG only needs to get 5 round wins to take it, and they did it in 8 rounds. So I mean, the Academy team fell 7-6, of which 16. Then they moved into losers bracket against the newly revitalized Immortals.
Yeah, we can say that. Thanks, FNS.
Yeah.
For anyone who's unaware that may have not been kind of like watching the CSGO scene or anything like that, about a month ago, FNS and who was it on Immortals? King. That's who it was. It was King. King or KNG or something like that. He was on Immortals. Immortals was basically an unbeatable team at the time.
That was the FNS appreciation thing.
Yeah, and so we basically like they're at a big LAN event. Immortals shows up late that day for an event because the night before the King guy threatens, like they're talking or something like that. There's apparently some scuffle in there's some scuffle or whatever happens in the hotel, and this King guy is tweeting like mad. FNS sends him a joking tweet, right? It's one of those things where as a native English speaker, it was a joking tweet. But as someone who's not a native English speaker, who King isn't, he's actually from Brazil. As a non-native speaker, he basically threatens to kill him.
So FNS tweets that they lost to 3 hungover players.
Yeah. So
and then King says, "Prove it or I'll kill you."
Yeah. And so King, like, the issue there was that it was the Brazilian player. He wouldn't apologize for saying that. He was like, no, I really mean it. And so a huge kerfuffle happened, and Immortals basically dropped that guy, and then the rest of their roster fell apart. And so now they've got almost an entirely new roster. Then there was the whole
thing where they were playing while they were suspended.
Yeah, it's. We'll just talk about this because this is pretty brutal.
So Immortals is basically destroyed now, right?
The old Immortals is gone.
How'd that go?
Yeah. Well, we played on Train, and we really didn't fare much better than the cash match against LG. The first half, though, they put in a really good attempt. They split it 8-7 down the middle at half, which is pretty decent and kind of showed a glimmer of hope initially, but that was rather dashed hard in the second half. We were up 8-7 in the half, split down the middle, because it's 15 rounds per half. We went 0-9 in the second half, so we lost 16-8. We didn't win a single round of Train second half. That was pretty unsatisfactory. That I'm gonna put that way, unsatisfactory. But So that's CSGO for CLG CSGO this week. Let's move on to something a little. We have some disappointing news. Initially,
at the 2GGC Fire Emblem Saga, there is no competitive Fire Emblem.
There was no competitive Fire
Emblem.
That is the disappointing news. At the 2GGC Fire Emblem Saga. I was like, what the hell? They had a Fire Emblem cosplay event, though.
I think I'd be one of maybe like 5 people worldwide that would actually like competitive Fire Emblem.
Yeah, I don't think you can play competitive Fire Emblem.
Well, the way you would do it with multiplayer, other than I guess doing low turn count beams, is you in the multiplayer you would go and you would make a team to play against online. Yeah. And if you ever played online, you would come up against people that are like, I'm just gonna go through the main storyline and that's good enough. Yeah. And I'll, I'm gonna do the best I can with that. But then you go into the people like me who would go and sit there and min-max, and I affectionately called the Neo Fire Emblem games Eugenics Simulator because what a lot of people do is oh, well, this pairing looks really nice, or something like, oh, that pairing's kind of cute.
Yeah.
I'll pair these two characters together.
No.
And then they'll have a kid or whatever. What I do is I look at what stats they modify
And what skills they pass over.
and look at what skills they pass on.
Yeah.
And I play eugenics.
Yeah, man, it's all about the eugenics. I mean, I was the one who, what is it? I think Donald, in Fire Emblem Awakening, you paired Donald with the dancer girl. I forget her name. Olivia. And you get like the most overpowered unit in the game. Like the unit that comes out of that is just like ridiculously strong because it comes out as a Pegasus Knight, I believe. But
yeah, which can learn Gale Force, so when you kill something,
you get to go again. Yeah.
Or you do, you play eugenics.
You play
so, like,
eugenics.
You take your avatar, like you marry Crom to Samia, and then you get Lucina with Gale Force, and then you marry Lucina, and then you have a third tier super.
You have
kid.
a third tier super kid. It's good stuff. But
I played eugenics.
No competitive Fire Emblem, unfortunately. So
let's talk Smash.
Yeah.
Summit.
So
Pew Pew U dropped out.
So Pew Pew U dropped out of the Smash Summit. A lot of people. He didn't really say exactly why. Like he wouldn't say exactly why he wanted to. He exactly why he didn't want to drop out, but most people could kind of tell already. It was mainly because of how the voting happens. So a lot of people
just have a huge player base with money.
Yeah, so to get into the Smash Summit, you had to have the fans vote for you. But for the fans to be able to vote for you, they had to buy stuff from the Smash Summit store, which for every like few dollars they spent, I think it was every $5 they spent, they got a vote. And so people were amassing the votes. They were buying things and amassing their votes. And then at the last minute, before the timer ticked over for the top two people to be invited in, the top two people or the bottom two people to be kicked out, people would spam all their votes at one time to the one player they wanted to get in. And so it was a little kind of whatever. Like Pew Pew, you didn't get knocked out, but at the same time, he's just like, this is too much of a gray area for him, and he didn't want to support it.
Not only that, it also whatchamacallit, it also encourages people that have bigger fan bases. So someone like Mango or Armada or Hungry Box or even Leffen, they're being the ones that are guaranteed to get in.
Well, a bunch of those guys were guaranteed in already.
Right,
so
because invites.
SFAT has the invite to it already, so he didn't have to be voted in. I think Mango and Leffen were also guaranteed in as well. So it was one of those things where a lot of the gods of Smash didn't have to get in, but yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, let's go on to the Wii U players.
So, because the 2GC Fire Emblem Saga, it was just Wii U. And we had both our boys, Void and Nakat, showed up for this one. So, do you want to start us off with Void?
Sure. So, Void started out in his pools against Weather Report and Reflect, and he won against both of them 2-0. And then, unfortunately, he had faced off against... How do I pronounce this name? Mysterica?
I kind of thought it was Mysterica. Mysterica, because it's like Mysterica, or maybe Mysterica? Mysterica. I'm going to say it's Mysterica. It's kind of like mystery plus like Costa Rica or something.
Right, well, he faced off against this player. 1-2-0. And then he goes up against JK and crushes him. Wait, hold on though. He got crushed.
No. Mysterica beat Void 2-0. But then, so that puts him into the losers bracket of his pools, where he then beats JK 2-0 to get out of his pools. But he starts in the losers bracket because he lost once in his pools.
So then he goes up against Charlie the King, and he does drop one set, but he wins it 3-1. Then he goes up against Larry Allure, who he beats 3-2. Goes up against Razzo next, and Void dispatches him 3-0. So now he's into the top 16, and the opponents are just going to get tougher from here. Mr. E's up next, and Void has a pretty wicked battle with him. And, in the end, going to be one winner. It's going to be Void, 3-2. Next up, he goes up against MK Leo, and you know what? Void's just step right up. right onto the chopping block. Pulls out his Marth and his Cloud. But, doesn't matter. Void's not going to let the dirty Cloud players win. Beats him 3-2 again. Now, you're going to see someone playing Olimar. It's not something you actually see a lot, but Shunton pulls it out, and he's Void's next opponent. In the end, though, Void does take him down 3-2. Now, he goes up into the top 6, and he faces off against his nemesis, Nero. And that Zamas player continues to give Void a tough time, and you can really tell. Void goes down here 0-3 and finishes in 5th place. But that was a pretty damn good showing considering he went straight from the losers bracket.
Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty good run in the winners bracket. He didn't have any, basically, this Mysterica person was a rather unknown player, and I believe they play. I actually don't remember what they played exactly, but he had a tough time because after losing there, he has to then come up against a pretty high ranked. I think it's Mr. E is a pretty high ranked Bayonetta player. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough, but he did beat him. But then we have Nakat. So yeah, man, Nakat is back in the house playing as Gen, and we do actually get to see the pleasure of both Void and Nakat playing in doubles. So wait up for that. So right into his pools, Nakat was shaking off a bad run last week and plowed through 2-0. He beats HP, Azu, Korean, and Paper all 2-0. He then 2-1'd Mistake to get into his winners bracket. Right away, though, he finds Koma Rikiri, who's a pretty tough Cloud player, and Koma Rikiri does beat him 3-0. Not to be dissuaded, though, he finds Fallen in the losers bracket. He does take one game off of him, but unfortunately, Nakat does fall to Fallen 3-1, meaning he finishes in 17th place, which truthfully is a pretty big step up after his last showing last week, where he actually lost in pools. Losing twice in pools is not something we usually see Nakat do. So it was kind of nice to see him get out and play some of the bigger names. But he did have a pretty tough one coming up against Koma Rikiri and Fallen, who are both pretty strong players and definitely ranked higher than Nakat right now. So it's good to see him to put up a good fight. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then we're going to move on to Voidcat. So Wii U doubles. Why don't you give us a rundown there?
Sure. So, Wii U doubles is definitely where it's at for CLG boys. Especially. In their pools, they actually smashed against Orin and 3 Fast, 5 Sanic.
Isn't that a fantastic
and
3 Fast, 5 Sanic. 3 Fast,
and
5
Bozzy
Sanic.
Vex. Win those 2-0. And then they go up against Pugwest, Mr. E. Give them a good run for their money, but Voidcat beats them 2-1. Next up, they go up against Samasora and Mistake in the finals, and they actually managed to take the boys down 2-1, and that's in the winners bracket finals. Now, that means they have to go off into the losers bracket. So they start off against Fallen and Elegant, beat them 2-0. Move up against Manny and 6WX, 2-1 victory, and then they ended up with Tweak and False, beat them 2-0. Now that they're in the top 4, they go up against Salem and Ryuga, and this is one tough duo, and they actually end up taking out Voidcat 3-0. So this means the boys finish 4th place.
Yeah. I mean, a good showing by Void and Nakat in doubles. We haven't really get to see a lot of Wii U doubles out of those two as well, because a lot of the time Nakat ends up dropping out or being kind of too busy. I don't think last week we even got doubles, did we?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
One thing someone actually mentioned in your chat, he's talking about PPU and what happened, why he wanted to drop out.
So PPU is accused of being salty, or people accuse PPU of being salty because of Chillin' Dude getting in. There's apparently a drama thread about it on Reddit. There's always a drama thread about it on Reddit.
Yeah, so thanks to Zeraphone for pointing that
out. So that ends our Wii U coverage. There's I I'm just gonna say it out here because because Nefarious just put this in. Towards the Overwatch team, our hearts and prayers go out to competitive Overwatch. God bless them and give Monty and Doa back. We want Monty back at least. God, Monty at least had like some slivers of faith for CLG. Some.
Well, he was always a CLG fan at heart.
Yeah.
But he's like, come on, you guys, like, you can't got to be better than this.
It's like, look at these.
He's like the disappointed dad.
Look at these Koreans and how well they're playing. Why can't you mirror that, CLG, just a little bit? And he's like, Koreans. I mean, maybe he'd be happy that we have Huhi.
No, he hated Huhi and Stixay.
Monty did, really? Oh.
Yeah, his at that time he's like, well, why would you do that when you can just import to top Korean talent sort of thing?
Yeah. You know what? There is also one more thing. Care of Zyrophone in the chat here. Rest in peace, Crepo's casting career. He did come out today saying that he is not going to be doing any more EU casting or casting in general. He's going to try and do more of a in the back end of League of Legends and esports and coaching.
Yeah,
so that's
mystery
cool.
man coaching Splice.
Yeah, he was the mystery man coaching Splice. So I mean, Crepo's always been one of my favorite kind of EU players, mainly because he was part of EU CLG, CLG.EU or CLG Black, as some called it, who made actually a really good run back in, what was it, Season 2? Season 1? Season 2. They made a pretty good run.
The CLG EU?
CLG EU, CLG Black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or CLG Dark, whatever they used to call it. It lasted like one split. Crepo best support. Crepo is pretty good. Geez, I think that's it. CLG news this year or this week. Not a whole lot. I mean, that's pretty much it for the year. Truthfully, I mean, what do we have left to look forward to? No CSGO movements, and we have what we have to look forward to: SFAT and Pew Pew U playing Melee, and Nakat and Void
and Thorin videos on TSM.
That's true. That Thorin video on TSM, masterpiece. Highly recommend going to watch it. It's like 40 minutes of Thorin shit talking TSM. I gave it an upvote.
But fairly.
But that's true. It's Thorin, so it is fair criticism because, like, it is fair criticism of TSM. It's not like over the top, just being salty or whatever about it. It's very fair because it's Thorin. Like, Thorin usually doesn't say things on his videos, at least, that is not.
It depends which
factually
Thorin you're
true.
watching. Are you looking at Twitter Thorin? Are you looking?
I said on his videos.
Insight Thorin?
On his videos. If you're watching the videos he posts on his personal YouTube channel, 9 times out of 10, those videos are backed up by hard facts. My cat is staring at my side table and thinking about jumping onto it, but that would be a very poor choice, cat. Okay, she's decided against it. All right.
I think that's all we got for this week. You want to do a small Q&A, I guess, with your chat?
Yeah, so we did stream this live on my Twitch channel. I was streaming before, so we popped it up. If anyone has any questions in chat, you're more than welcome to throw them out here right now. It's about a little bit of a delay to the chat. It's about 5 seconds, but that's not much. If anyone has any questions for us doing a podcast, we are the CLG Faithful Podcast. I don't see anything coming in, but you gotta have people a second. Mm-hmm. Just looks like oh god, they're talking about the chat's talking about the pictures of Crepo that came out like a year ago, that basically made him step down from casting for a little bit. That's a little weird. You guys are weird people in chat. Don't Google it. Yeah, don't Google that. Don't Google that at all. Maybe this was a poor choice. Like drinking milk on a hot day.
I mean, it's your chat, man.
My people are pretty good. They're pretty good people. All right, well, this has been the CLG Faithful Podcast. We are a weekly podcast that goes over all things CLG. If you do enjoy what we do, please take a few minutes to like us and follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, or give us a rating on iTunes and Google Play. We do love getting feedback, so you can send us your thoughts over at clgfaithful@gmail.com. We will respond, even if it's criticism. We do like constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is amazing because it helps us improve. We can thank that one guy who sent us the email about putting timestamps in, because timestamps are amazing for ones that are like 45 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, guys. So
except when I'm lazy in the like 6-minute episode.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, oh, come on. I mean, it was like literally one thing, but that's fine.
It was one topic.
Yeah, one topic.
It was one topic the
like
entire
smash. Time. All right, guys. I am Artrin. You guys can find me over on Twitter at Artrin TV. It's been updated now. It is Artrin TV, as in television. And where can we find you, Nefarious?
I'm on Twitter, so you can follow me at Nefarious. That's NEFARI0USS. And
awesome, guys. Thanks for listening, and peace out.
See you all next week. Later.